Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Ingles Hayday auctioneers based in the UK, and we're going to have a look at a very interesting violin. This is a previously undocumented violin by Antonio Stradivari circa 1685. Now, before we get on to talking about this instrument, I'd just like to say, if you enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing and also feel free to like or comment below. All of this really does help grow the channel, so I'd be very grateful if you could do this. So yes, we're on the Ingles Hayday website, and on March the 28th, they will be selling this previously undocumented violin by Antonio Stradivari, part of the Norman Rosenberg collection. So as you can imagine, a violin by Antonio Stradivari that is previously undocumented is extremely rare. So this is a very interesting item to come up for auction. So for those of you that don't know about Norman Rosenberg, he was a very well-known collector and also expert that was based in London, and unfortunately he passed away not too long ago, and now his collection is coming up for auction. I shall put a link in the top right hand corner somewhere here to a video that I did about this collection, but essentially Ingles Hayday are selling his collection cross between two auctions, one on the 28th of March of this year and the other on the 6th of June. This particular violin is lot 96 in the March 28th auction. So before we look at this beautiful instrument in more detail, let's have a look back at some of the articles that Ingles Hayday published about this particular sale. So as I've covered in my previous Norman Rosenberg video, we'll see that this is the list that Norman wrote himself. You can see clearly at the top, Antonio Stradivari 1685. This is the violin list amongst many other very interesting instruments here. So here they're talking about that it's an A to Z of the finest Italian makers, including a 1685 Stradivari and some other obviously fine instruments. So that's the first kind of inkling that there was a Stradivari in the collection. I believe some people that did know Norman in person, that he did occasionally mention about this instrument, but I don't think that many people actually saw it. Now moving on to a later article by Ingles Hayday, this time authored by John Dilworth, the well-known English expert and restorer. They say here that in the collection are an Andrea Amati, considered to be the father of the modern violin by some or by many, and an Antonio Stradivari, both of which appear to be previously unrecorded instruments, and very kind of valuable in terms of kind of monetary and historical value. I'll do a separate video on the Andrea Amati as well, because that's a very interesting instrument. So moving on from this note about the Stradivari, let's kind of go down a bit further here. So the Stradivari violin is not known to history, being otherwise undocumented and unknown, has a particularly interesting story to tell. Although all parts are attributable to Antonio Stradivari, there are many different elements within it. The back from the period 1685 was made astonishingly at much the same time as the Andrea Guarneri violin, another instrument in this particular sale, but offers a strong contrast in style that shows Stradivari's gifts and as an innovator and an independent mind within the strong Cremonese tradition. The form is quite original to Stradivari, unlike any of his predecessors who repeatedly used the same Amati pattern. In proportion it conforms to his P mould, but is unusually, possibly uniquely, large for the period in length and width. Whether or not it was made as an experiment in the development of the long patterns, which appeared in the 1690s, is impossible to say. Where this becomes more interesting is that the front appears to be from a slightly later period, around 1692, and must have been made by Stradivari to fit the instrument, Whether to replace the damaged original or to complete an earlier unfinished instrument is again impossible to say. To add to the intrigue, the scroll is again of a different period, being a finely preserved and delicate example from around 1670, and there is the back there. So that's to give you a bit of a background about the situation here. So this is an instrument that has been was in the Norman Rosenberg collection for quite a long time. It was clear to him that it was a Stradivari. It's clear to Ingles and Hayday and John Dilworth, all the experts, that it's a Stradivari. An interesting instrument with parts all from the Stradivari workshop, but potentially at different times for whatever reason. We're not completely sure. But any case, a very important instrument, and not often that an undocumented Strad comes up for sale. So we've got it here in front of us. Let's have a look and see what we can learn about it. So, violin by Antonio Stradivari, lot 96, Cremona. He was born in 1644, died in 1737, or circa 1644 for the birth. This violin from Cremona, circa 1685. The front later, probably made in the Stradivari workshop, circa 1692. The scroll by Stradivari, circa 1670. Labelled Antonius Stradivarius Cremonensis Feciabat Anno 168 with a star AS. Length of back 14.5 inches, 35.8 centimeters, which I guess is a little bit longer than some instruments of that period, so that is interesting. Probably a curious note to say the front later probably made in the Stradivari workshop circa 1692, so that puts a little bit of a question mark on it, which might be the reason why this is 500 to 800,000, because ordinarily we'd expect this to probably be in the millions for the estimate, and I probably wouldn't be too surprised if this did actually end up selling for a few million, but I'm not 100% sure. I seem to be notoriously bad at giving estimates for really high level instruments, so whatever I say will probably be completely wrong. But you can request a condition report and also listen to a sound sample. Now, I don't know if I fill out a condition report request, I think it's quite unlikely that I will actually get it, because for these higher level instruments they tend to be like quite guarded, because obviously the people that buy them might be, you know, a fairly kind of high-end client and they might want some privacy. So I don't think I'm in a position that I could ask for the condition report and actually get it. But if you are in the market and have the money for this kind of violin, then almost certainly you should definitely ask for that. Sound sample, I'm not sure if we can actually, we've got a bit of a video. I'll play a few seconds because I don't want to kind of breach anyone's kind of copyright things here, but just a tiny bit. Let's see what we get here, if we get anything at all. I think that's probably enough for now, but yeah, it sounds very good. Yeah, let's take it from the top and see if we can kind of zoom in a bit. Let's see what kind of quality of photos that we have here. So we'll have to go up. It's a nice scroll, a little bit of kind of a chip out there. Seems like a nice instrument. You can see that it seems in pretty good condition. It would be interesting for sure to see a condition report there. Really beautiful F-holes, so that's a very nice instrument. If we look at the scroll, we can see what appears to be a cheek patch here, not uncommon in some older violins. Unfortunate, and I think almost certainly if someone was to buy that, they would get that restored, so it looked a little bit better. And looking towards the back here, see, really fine back of the scroll here. The button, you see the pin under the purfling there, very nice one piece back here, and you see the other pin down here. Also looks in remarkably quite good condition, but once again, as I said, I've not seen the condition report, so I'm not actually sure what the true condition is. If someone has been able to ask for the condition report, then please let me know what it says. Like I said, I could try asking for it. I just suspect that I will probably not get it. I'm just waiting to see if we couldn't quite see. You can see the graft here. Almost looks like that graft might be a little bit open there. That's interesting. I wonder if that graft might need to be redone at some point. But really nice sides, really good figure to that. You can see quite nice arching there. But in general, looks in very good condition here. Slight kind of angle here to the pictures. Really beautiful cut scroll there. Really lovely. Presume this is basically almost down to the ground everywhere, with almost no or very little kind of the varnish left. And here's another view from the back. Really see that figure kind of popping out here. And in general, just a really interesting looking violin. So I definitely recommend, if you're interested in Stradivari instruments, that you check out this lot. I think there might be a viewing in London at some point in March, so this might be kind of kept aside a bit. Maybe it's special viewings only, but it would definitely be interesting to look at in person. But anyway, I thought it'd be interesting to let everyone know that a previously undocumented violin by Antonio Stradivari of Cremona, circa 1685, is coming up for auction at Ingles Hayday on the 28th of March 2023. An extremely interesting auction. 500 to 800,000 is the estimate, and we're going to have to see what happens, really. So I'll put a link to all of these different pages. Have a look at it yourself. Once again, I'll try and at the beginning put a video to the Rosenberg collection video that I did. And yeah, once again, thanks a lot for watching. Check out this beautiful violin, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.